Today I'm going to give you one tip to help improve your OPZ workflow. Freebeat. Hey, how's it going everybody? Welcome to Freebeat, where I post new music-related content every single day, so if that sounds good to you, hit that subscribe button, ring that notification bell, let's get started. So, the Teenage Engineering OPZ is one of my favorite groove boxes. It's this screenless little TV remote that has about a zillion button combinations for you to memorize. It's very, very intimidating at first, and even more intimidating when you start to realize everything that this guy can do, and even think about creating a workflow for yourself. But I've got one important tip for you that is going to drastically improve that workflow, maybe even before you've learned the rest of the device. And that tip is to memorize what the 4 pages of encoder LEDs are for all of your noise-making tracks. So for your percussion tracks and your synthesizer tracks. Depending what kind of track you have selected, each of these knobs here, these encoders, will control a different parameter. And on the drum and synth tracks, you actually have 4 different pages of parameters that are indicated by the color of the LED under these encoders. The way we cycle through those is with the shift button. So the colors are in this order: white, green, purplish, and orangish yellow. So those are your 4 colors. Then we hit it again and it goes back to page 1. So white is page 1, green is page 2, purple is page 3, and yellow-orange is page 4. Now what you want to work on is memorizing what each of these knobs do depending on the page they are on. This will greatly speed up your workflow, especially when it comes to sound design and parameter locking and just getting those sounds dialed in to what you want them to be. So without further ado, here we go. On the drum tracks, the first knob, the green encoder on page 1 with white LEDs, controls the pitch of the sample. You can go up or you can go down. And the LED will briefly turn green when you have it in the center position, which is really handy. The second knob, the blue knob on page 1, controls whether the sample plays forward or backward. So this only has 2 positions. Pretty self-explanatory. The yellow knob on page 1 is the filter cutoff, and the red knob on page 1 is the resonance. So let's crank up the resonance. Crank down the filter cutoff. You can go high pass or low pass. Again, it will briefly turn green when you are in the center. That's it for page 1 on all of the drum tracks. That's what page 1 does. Let's go to page 2. No matter what, page 2 is going to be our Adsr envelope. Attack, decay, sustain, release. Obviously the kick drum track isn't the best way to demonstrate that, but trust me, Adsr, if you remember, green equals your main envelope generator. That's all you need to worry about. Page 3 is our LFO settings. Now granted, if you're just starting with the OPZ and trying to figure out your workflow, I wouldn't worry about the LFO page too much because you can always have the guide with you or even a phone or tablet with a screen, but I'm still going to go over it nonetheless. So, on the LFO page, the green knob is the depth of the LFO. Someone is cutting metal outside, so sorry if you can hear that. The blue knob controls the rate of your LFO. The yellow knob is the destination of the LFO, with many different destinations available depending on the color of the LED when you turn it. This is why I don't really recommend worrying about the LFO when you're just starting out, because that's a lot to memorize. And same with the red knob, which is the shape of the LFO, which has a ton of different options as well. So there's your LFO settings. Not the most important thing to worry about, in my opinion, but it's there for when you want to learn it. Let's go to page 4. Page 4, the yellow-orangish page. This one's actually pretty easy. The green encoder is effect send 1. The blue encoder is effect send 2, and of course those will correspond with your 2 effect send tracks, 1 and 2 there. The yellow knob is our pan, so we can go left, we can go right, again with the LED briefly turning green when you are dead center. And then the red knob is the overall volume or level of the track that you're on, in this case our kick drum track. So that's what all of the encoders do for the drum tracks. I'm going to try to keep this pretty concise so people can skip around when they are learning. So let's move on to the synthesizer tracks. Let's go to our bass track. So things are a little different here. Let's make sure that we are on the first page of parameters by going to the white LED page. So the first two dials here, green and blue, are going to correspond to parameter 1 or parameter 2, depending on what synth engine you are on. So that's something you're just going to have to play around with and learn, but know that these are your two main knobs, encoders for changing the sound directly. Now, much like on the drum tracks, the yellow and red encoders on the first page are the filter cutoff and resonance, respectively. Let's raise the resonance. There we go. Let's go to page 2. Now we can demonstrate the Adsr envelope, which is what page 2 or the green LEDs represent. So here's our attack. Here's our decay. Here's our sustain. And here's our release. Pretty easy stuff. Page 3 is just the same as before. This is our LFO. So once again, we've got the depth, the rate, the destination, and the shape. Again, I will leave you to play with those. I don't really recommend trying to memorize those right out of the gate. Page 4 is also the same as before. So we have effect send 1, which in my case I believe was delay. And then effect send 2, which I believe in my case is reverb. Then we once again have pan on the yellow knob of page 4 and overall volume for the red knob on page 4. And that's basically it. So I like to summarize it as this. White is for directly shaping the sound. Green, or page 2, is your Adsr envelope. Purple, or page 3, is your LFO. And orange, or page 4, is going to be your effect sends, volume, and panning. So if you can memorize these 4 pages of parameters for the drum tracks and the synth tracks, I can guarantee you that your workflow is going to improve drastically. I do hope you found this video helpful. If so, be sure to leave a like on it. If not, you can always leave a dislike. That's okay too. Doesn't hurt my feelings, just makes me try that much harder next time. Either way, be sure to hit that subscribe button, ring that notification bell. Thank you so very much for being here. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye.